Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Erik Anderson, your league administrator for the National Air Rifle and National Air Pistol Leagues. Just let everyone know who joined us early, we will get started promptly at 3 o'clock, which is in about 15 minutes. If you have any questions you would like to have answered, please use the chat window and type them in. If it's something that I can answer right away, I will, or I might try to answer it during the presentation as well. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Erik Anderson, the League Administrator for the National Air Rifle New Shooter League and the National Air Pistol League. Just as a reminder, we will get started promptly at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, which is in about 10 minutes. For those of you who joined early, if you have any questions with respect to the league, feel free to use the message box on the side. And I can either try to answer it now, or probably more likely, I'll try to make sure I answer your question during the presentation. Otherwise, please relax for a bit, and we'll get started, like I said, in about 10 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, coaches, welcome. This is Erik Anderson speaking, your league administrator for the National Air Rifle New Shooter League and the National Air Pistol League. We will get started promptly at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, which is in about 5 minutes. If in between now and then, if you have any questions pertaining to the league, please use the YouTube chat box. And I can either try to answer the question early, or more likely, I will try to answer the question during the presentation. Otherwise, please sit back, relax, and like I said, we'll get started in about 5 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, coaches, welcome to the 2021 season of the National Air Rifle New Shooter League and the National Air Pistol League. You are joining us today for the Coaches Conference for the said two above leagues. And welcome, everyone. My name is Erik Anderson. I am both the owner of the Orion scoring system and the league administrator for the New Shooter and Air Pistol Leagues. Today, this coaches meeting, a couple of logistics while a few more people are logging on. I am going to try to keep the meeting to about 30 minutes. Some of that will depend on what questions you have. Today's topics will be specific to the New Shooter and Air Pistol Leagues. I did decide this year to combine the coaches meeting for the two leagues. I will, as we go on, if there is information that is specific to one league or the other, try to point that out. But almost everything in today's coaches meeting does pertain to both leagues. And like I said, unless I otherwise say so. I do encourage everyone to ask questions as we go through. This information is for you. It is meant to help you succeed in the league. To ask a question, please use the YouTube chat box. Either myself or one of my colleagues who is moderating the chat box will get back to you. And for those of you who are unable to attend, we will have today's broadcast recorded, and we will be sending it out to all of the coaches. All right, a couple statistics for the leagues. This is the fourth year that we are running the Air Pistol and New Shooter League. Due to the pandemic, we were kind of expecting the numbers to be down this year, and they were. The New Shooter League, we have 31 teams with the estimated 261 athletes being participating. And on the Air Pistol side, we have 6 teams with 72 athletes. While the numbers are down this year, I will have to say that we did have a lot of the top teams returning, especially in the Air Pistol League. Pretty much all of the top teams from last year came back to participate this year. All right, every year I try to, one of the first things I try to do is highlight the differences from this season with the past seasons. And this season, we really didn't make any changes to the rules, but we did make some changes to try to anticipate the disruptions that are caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. And the pandemic is, of course, absolutely terrible, and has yes, nothing good to be said about it. And during the season, one of the things that we are anticipating is that there are going to be disruptions. There are going to be teams who have to isolate, who can't come to the range, and unfortunately, that's a fact of life, and we all have to work together to kind of alleviate that. So to kind of help manage those anticipated disruptions, we did change the league's schedule in 2 ways. The first way is instead of an 8-game, 10-week schedule, we went to a 7-game, 10-week schedule. So each team has an additional bye week. And we did that to allow for schedule changes. Again, we are anticipating multiple schedule changes, sometimes in the last minute, and we want to work around that. So to help us with those schedule changes, we added that third bye week for each team. And then the second thing we did is we actually added a 11th week to the schedule. And that 11th week is reserved exclusively for games that have to be rescheduled. We won't, in and of itself, schedule anyone on the 11th week except unless it's a rescheduled game. And I do want to kind of point out my policy for how we're going to deal with these schedule changes due to the pandemic. We have always, in this league, defaulted to trying to work with the teams to allow them to participate. And we want to maintain that philosophy of working with you to allow you to participate. So if something comes up where, like I said, your team has to isolate, members of your team has to isolate, let us know as soon as you can. We will work with you to reschedule that game. With that said, though, there may be cases where we have to cancel a game due to, again, teams having to isolate themselves. So, like I said, that's our policy. We're going to work with you to try to allow everyone to participate. Worst case scenario, we will cancel games on an as needed basis. All right, so Now going on to some of the more pressing, some of the more uplifting stuff. Eligibility for the two leagues. For the new shooter league, eligibility is based on three things. Number one, you have to be eligible underneath the national three-position air rifle rules. And this basically says you have to be a high school age athlete or younger. The new shooter league is for sporter class athletes only. And then number three, you know, as the name implies, you have to be a new shooter. And there's a couple of different ways in which around the country new shooters are defined. We have chosen to define a new shooter as anyone who shot their first air rifle or small bore rifle match after August 1st of 2020, which does purposely correspond to the school year. And we do actually make some exceptions. If someone was a BB gun shooter, is probably the most common one. Having shot a BB gun match doesn't eliminate your eligibility in the new shooter league. You are still able to participate. Same way with like air pistol or high power. So those are the eligibility for the new shooter league. On the air pistol league, much more open. Matter of fact, pretty much anyone can participate in the air pistol league. It is for both juniors and open age group athletes. All right, the season is broken down into two parts. The first part is going on now, and that is the preseason. Every team who has registered for the new shooter or air pistol league has been invited to participate in the preseason. It is not required by any, it's not required in any way, but we do recommend teams participate in the preseason match. It allows you to kind of get used to the rules. It allows you to, maybe you haven't been using Orion for a while, so it kind of helps remind you how to use Orion to upload scores. And it's, just a practice match in a sense for your team. And then the regular season is, like I said, 10 weeks plus one, 10 weeks long, starting on Monday. Most weeks during the regular season, your team will have one game to participate, or you'll have a bye week. And all teams have 3 bye weeks. When you registered for the league, you had an opportunity to select which bye weeks you wanted to have for your team. You still have an opportunity to select those bye weeks if you haven't done so, but please do so today. You can go back to the registration email, and there will be a link that you can click on to open up and select your bye weeks. And if you don't select a bye week, we'll basically select them for you. Like I said, there is a 11th week this season, but that is reserved exclusively for rescheduled games. And then during the season itself, all of the scheduling of the games is dynamic, and I'll talk to you about what dynamic scheduling means in a few slides. All right, again, like I said, there's going to be one game each week for each of your teams, and for the purpose of the league, a week is defined as Monday through Sunday. That means the game is going to be released on Monday, and you'll have until Sunday to turn in your scores, shoot and to turn in your scores. On the new shooter league, the course of fire is a 3x10 scored in decimal, and we are being governed by the national standard 3-position air rifle rules. For coaches who may not have saw the emails that went out, there is a new version of the rule book. Honestly, not a lot changed from the previous one, but we are using the 2020 to 2022 edition of the national 3-position air rifle rules. Air pistol, the course of fire is 60 shots, and we are governed by USA Shooting. Again, just in case for those of you who may not be familiar, the reason we went to 60 shots on the Air Pistol League is because USA Shooting, for both men and women, the standard course of fire now is 60 shots. Because we follow the USA Shooting rules, we too went to the 60 shot course of fire. All games will be virtual. So what that means is your team will shoot from your home range, and then the team that you're shooting against that week will also shoot from their home range. And using Orion's virtual match technology, both scores will get uploaded, and you'll be able to see virtually how you did against the team that you're competing that week. With that said, though, There are teams who have in the past wanted to shoot in a more traditional shoulder-to-shoulder competition. If that is you, we can set that up in the schedule itself. But please let us know ahead of time. We need at least a week to set that up. Again, I leave it to you, the coaches, to decide that. But if you do decide to want to have a more shoulder-to-shoulder, and geographically you can, we can help you out. And then finally, for games, all scoring is to be done electronically using Orion, Athena, or whatever ESC system you may have. All right. In a game, one of your responsibilities as coaches is to schedule a time for your team to shoot. And like I said, you have the entire week, Monday through Sunday, to schedule your team to shoot. And some coaches will have the entire team shoot at the same time. That's A-okay. Some other coaches, maybe they have a smaller range, and they have to divide their team up into like 2 sets. And you could have half of your team shooting on Tuesday, for example, and the other half of your team shooting on Thursday. That's fine. That too is okay. Because again, you have the entire week to schedule and to shoot your scores. Now, what is not allowed is for you to try to have your team shoot your league game twice and try to get the highest scores. Something I'm not really proud of, but every year we seem to catch a team try to do this, and that is illegal. So again, as coaches, schedule your team to shoot the one time, upload your scores, and you have until Sunday to do that. I did have a question that came in with respect to when will the schedule be released, and this is perfect timing for the question because that is what this slide is going to be talking about. So the schedule for the first 2 weeks of the league, we're going to schedule it tomorrow, Friday, and we'll send an email out for the first 2 weeks of the league tomorrow. And the first 2 weeks of the league, the scheduling is completely random. You could get scheduled against the 2 best teams in the league. You could get scheduled against 2 teams that are brand new. So the first 2 weeks, again, completely 100% random. And then starting with the 3rd week, we schedule teams, we kind of pair teams up based on how they did on the first week. And in as much as we are capable of doing, like I said, we do try to pair teams up with teams of similar skill level. And like I said, we start that with week number 3. And again, on week number 4, we do that again, but based on results from weeks 1 and 2. And this goes on for the entirety of the league. So what that means is by the end of the league, the top 2, 3, 4 teams are all competing against each other, and the teams that are like still developing are all competing against each other. I will say that is our goal, but there are some things that we have additional goals as well with respect to scheduling. The big one is we still want a diversity of competitions. It would be really, really boring if the top 2 teams competed against each other every week. So we do have this secondary idea of creating a diversity of competitions, which means you will be competing against different teams in the league. With that said, we also do try to prevent two teams from competing twice in the same season. In as much, again, as we are able to do within the confines of the league. And I will say with that, once again, air pistol teams, the air pistol leagues, because there are only 6 teams and there are 7 games, based on the pigeonhole principle, you will be competing against at least 2 teams twice during the league. Small number of teams, so yeah, that will happen in the air pistol league itself. And then the final note about scheduling games during the season, we do stop scheduling teams if they have 2 or more DNSs during the season. DNS is a did not start. So if your team just doesn't compete one week and then the next week, we drop you from the schedule. That's not fair for the other teams who are competing. All right. Both leagues, the rankings are done by what we call league points, and the basic principle works the same way. Your team earns league points based on two criteria. First, your seasonal average that you accumulate during the league, and then second, you in effect get bonus points each week if your team wins in your weekly game. On the new shooter side, you get 10 points for a win. And on the air pistol side, because it is a longer course of fire, you get 15 points. There's no penalty for a loss, but if your team does not shoot that week, there is a penalty for the DNS. One of the things that means is one of the keys to success is to make sure you shoot and turn in your scores every week. You don't want to have a DNS. And then, again, unfortunately, this does happen about once a season. If a team has to be disqualified for rule violations, there's kind of a big penalty for that DSQ. And then we do have added tie-breaking rules if two teams do have the same league points. To be honest, I'm not sure we ever had to employ the tie-breaking rules before. All right, how to participate. A couple of different resources that we have for you to teach you how to participate. First of all, you're all logged into our YouTube live stream. On this same channel, there is a YouTube video on specifically how to participate in a league. And especially for those of you who are new to Orion or are new to the league, I strongly encourage you to watch that video. And I realized as I was getting these presentations together, I hadn't actually sent a link out to that video. I will be sure to do that by the end of the day tomorrow. And then the second resource we have is the what we call the instructions and range command manual. This is, depending on if it's air rifle or pistol, about a 15 to 20 page booklet. And it has both the instructions on how to participate in a league game and the range commands. And I do strongly encourage you to use the range commands just to make one more way to make sure that every team is playing from the same equal playing field. Again, as a reminder, each game will be available noon on Monday. It does take us a little time every Monday during the league to release the games. It's not automatic. It's something that we have to do. So please be a little bit patient on Monday mornings, but we will try to have the games released by noon. For those of you shooting on paper targets, please hand out the targets just prior to shooting. In the range command manual, that actually does we do have a line item where you hand out the targets. And then be sure to collect the targets immediately after each stage. In the new shooter league, that's prone, standing, and kneeling. Collect targets after each stage. In the air pistol league, you can collect targets at the end, since it really is just a single stage. All right. After your team has shot, after you have scored your targets, Orion will automatically upload the scores for you. But this is one of the most important parts of participating. Check that the scores got uploaded successfully. When you, I have highlighted here in red the little globe icon in Orion. When you click on that, that opens up a web browser, and you should see a page kind of like the one that you see listed here. You're going to see your team listed, and you're going to see the team that you're competing against listed. Make sure you see both your team and the team that you're competing against. And under your team, you want to make sure that your scores are listed there. The other team may not have shot yet, so they may or may not have scores, but you want to make sure that your team has your scores listed. Very, very important step to do each week. One other thing that we're going to do to make sure that, to help make sure that you turned in your scores correctly, is on Fridays, we will be sending an email letting to the coaches to let you know what scores we have for you for your team at that time. Keep in mind that, again, scores are due on Sunday, and we're sending this out on Friday as a reminder. So if you normally don't shoot until Saturday, this email is going to tell you that we don't have any scores. And that's okay, because it got sent out on Friday and you shoot on Saturday. That's no problem. But let's say that your team shot on Tuesday and you get this email and it says you don't have any scores. That's a problem. Give our support line a call so we can help you get those scores uploaded successfully. And many of you are teachers, and I know one of the great things that teachers do is during lectures is the most important things they keep reiterating time and again. And this is the part where I get to reiterate the same thing over and over again because it is crucial to the league. Scores are due Sunday at midnight. If you have something that comes up, again, the coronavirus, you may have to isolate kind of at the last moment. There are, during the spring league, we often get snowstorms that games have to be rescheduled. I understand, we'll work with you, but it is important that you let me know as soon as possible so we can work with you to get a schedule change. If we don't hear from you and you don't turn your scores in, we have to assume that you didn't shoot. So scores are due Sunday at midnight. If for some reason you can't shoot that week at the last moment, let us know as soon as possible so we can still work with you. And during the year, like I said, there will always be some special circumstances that come up. We'll try to highlight some of them. Scheduling conflicts. Again, many of you are high schools, and you might have spring breaks during the year. Please let us know what bye weeks you want now, so we can build that into the schedule. The sooner you can let us know any of that information, the more we are able to help you out. And like I said, the best case scenario is you let us know at least 1 week ahead of time. Again, I recognize that due to the pandemic, that's not always going to be possible, but please work with us so we can help you out. If you do have 2 games in a week, that's only going to happen if there's a schedule change. But if you do have 2 games in a week, your team does have to shoot 2 courses separately. You can't shoot once and have it count twice. And then under extreme condition, just to remind everybody, we do have the authority to cancel a game if necessary. It has happened, again, due to the coronavirus. Unfortunately, it might have to happen again this year. We kind of use this as a last resort, but I do want to make all the coaches aware of the fact that if warranted, we do have the authority to cancel a game. All right, awards. Something much more uplifting. So every year, the participation awards will get sent out. Every team is going to get a league banner. For the New Shooter League, in the past, we have sent out posters. Kind of the economics of making posters versus banners is kind of interesting. For smaller numbers, like we have this year, it's actually less expensive to create banners. Only when you have lots and lots of teams is it more economical to create posters. So, some good news is every team actually gets a banner this year. Every participant, every athlete, will be sending out participation pins and a league sticker for your rifle or pistol. I do have to apologize here. I have a note that this will get sent out on Friday. That is incorrect. We are waiting for the banners to come in first before sending this out. We hope to have the banners in about 3 to 4 weeks. Just as soon as we do, we'll send out your team participation banner and the participation awards for your athletes. Now, for the end of season awards, in the let me just say the Air Pistol League first, because it's much easier to put this. The top 3 teams in the Air Pistol League will send out medals and additional banner for the top 3 teams in the Air Pistol League. In the New Shooter League, this is one of my favorite things about the New Shooter League, because we are emphasizing, it is a New Shooter League, so we are trying to encourage athletes who are young in the development. We actually try to hand out as many awards as we can, and those awards are based on 3 things. Number 1, if your team wins 4 or more games. Number 2, if you participate in all 7 games during the season. And number 3, if you show improvement. So if your team managed to get 2 of those 3 criteria, we will give you end of season awards. And like I said, one of the great things about this new shooter league is it's possible, hasn't happened, but it is possible that we hand out awards to every team in the new shooter league. Again, because to get that, you just have to participate and show improvement, which means basically, practice during your days off and get better during the season. And I'll show a slide in just a moment how we calculate that metric. It's the last thing I want to say here, again, for the end of season awards, based on the competition, we will also, if your team is eligible, we'll also give you a second banner to hang in your range. All right, for the new shooter league, this is how we calculate the improvement award. Again, it's based on your team's 7 scores. We will drop the lowest score during the season. Then we use in Excel, it's called the Linus function. It's a statistical function, but it measures what this Linus function does is it measures your team improvement over the over the season, and it comes up with a points per week improvement. And if we use a metric of 5 points or better improvement each week, if your team can do that, you would be eligible for this metric. Just as a reference, just to give you an idea as to how easy or hard it is to meet that metric, in years past, most teams actually improve close to 10 points per game, and we're only requiring an improvement of 5 points per game. All right, during the league itself, the couple things that we do to both promote your team and the league itself, every week we do send out press releases, and we do make these available to your local newspapers. If in the time that you registered, if you were able to give us the email address of a local newspaper's their sports department, we will copy your local newspaper with the press releases. And a lot of especially the smaller newspapers do pick up on these stories. And we've seen cases where the reporters will actually call up the coaches and request interviews with both you and your team. So it's a great way to help promote your team. And then the other thing that we do is, we'll post these on Facebook as well. And then the other thing that we do is we request team photos from each of you. And again, we will make these team photos available to the press when they request it. And we also put it up on our Facebook pages and the team page itself. For the team photos, again, we request that the coaches send this in. Please include all of your team members. If you have team colors, team jackets, please include those as well. And coaches, you're invited to be part of these photos in addition. All right, team coaches. Here is kind of a list of the responsibilities you have during the season itself. First and foremost, you are responsible for being familiar with the league program and the league rules. This presentation is to help you with that responsibility. You're responsible for conducting each game according to the National Standard 3-Business Air Rifle rules for the New Shooter League, or the USA Shooting rules if you are part of the Air Pistol League. You're responsible for scheduling each game for your team during the time frame of the week. Again, that's Monday through Sunday. Scores are due Sunday at midnight. You are responsible for the correct use of Orion, as well as if you're using an EST system, you're responsible for the correct use of the EST system. And you're responsible for contacting myself or my team if something unusual happens during the season. I promise you, every year something unusual does happen, more so this year than any others. Again, we will work with you to allow your team to participate, but we need your help to let us know when something happens. Then, of course, the honesty and integrity of your team. Again, not something I really like to mention, but unfortunately every year we have caught teams cheating. We don't like the fact that we've done this, but we have. And hey, look, it's not good for the league. It's not good for your team. And for many of you, you're coaches. You're trying to one of the things that you're trying to do is to promote sportsmanship with your athletes, and it's just better for everyone when we are successful at doing that. A couple of notes about the score integrity. We do check scores every week. We don't have the resources to check every score, every target that gets shot, but we do randomly check scores every week. And if you have questions about how to correctly use Orion, or if you have questions about how a particularly score violation needs to be applied, the most common one is an extra shot fired. Give our offices a call and we'll help you out. But we do double check that for teams each week. Coaches' contact information. When I first started this league, this would have been about 5 years ago, some of the coaches came to me and they were asking me for the contact information of the other coaches. And their intentions were really good. They wanted to reach out to the other teams and just say hello, say a little bit about who they are, wish them luck, and congratulate them when they won. And this was a great idea, but at that very first season, I didn't really have the mechanism to do that. And so what we have done in years since is stated in the league program, and right now, that we will be sharing your contact information with the other coaches in the league. And the purpose of this is, again, just so the coaches can communicate with each other, reach out, again, demonstrate good sportsmanship, wish each other luck, tell your opposing team a little bit about yourself. We've in the past we've had teams from South Africa, we've had teams from Hawaii, we have teams from Alaska. So just tell a little bit about your team, and it helps make this a bit more roll a smaller and better place. Both your email address and your phone number will be provided in this list. Absolutely. If you choose not to be part of this list, we will respect that. Let us know, and we'll remove your name from what is being sent. And we do ask all the coaches, be respectful of the privacy of your fellow coaches. Use this information for its intended purposes. To spread sportsmanship. Don't use it for any other purposes other than that. And we're getting to the end here. Some hints to success. Remember that teams are ranked partially by win and losses, and a win at the start of the season counts just as much as a win at the end of the season. So what that means is, even if your team drops a couple of games at the beginning of the season, you still have the rest of the season to make up for that. And I've seen a lot of teams be able to do that. And the other thing that means is, like I said, every week be sure to compete, because a DNS, a did not start, actually hurts your teams a lot worse than shooting poorly. So you want to make sure that you compete every week and get your team's scores turned in. Then kind of the final hints to success, and I've seen this a lot. Teams that succeed during the league aren't really the teams that start out well. They're actually the teams that work hard and get better and improve. And so if you want your team to do well, use this league as a motivation to practice and to get better. And I've seen it a lot where the teams that are successful are the teams that improve and work hard. All right, with that is all the information I had prepared to work with you, to present to you today. I have listed on the slide here the links to our league pages and our Facebook page. If you have questions about the league itself, please email us or call our offices, and we will be sure to help you out. Again, a couple of final reminders. If you have not selected your bye weeks, you still have time to do so. Go back to that registration email. There'll be a link there that you can click on to select your bye weeks. We need that information as soon as possible. Be sure to participate every week during the season. There'll be 7 games in the 10 weeks. We'll release games on Monday. You have until Sunday to turn them in. Double and triple check that you got your scores turned in. And if something comes up during the season, your team is unable to participate for whatever reason, give us a call as soon as possible so we can work with you. Like I said, we want to make sure that your team has the opportunity to compete. There's a question with respect to how you can update your team and contact information. There's kind of two parts to the answer to this. If you're referring to specifically to the league, you can use that team registration email again to update the contact information for your team. If you're referring to your Orion account, related but not exactly the same thing, you can log into our website to update your contact information. There was a second question with respect to the bye weeks. Specifically, a gentleman asked, he pointed out when he registered, he only selected one bye week. Again, yes, if you go back to the original registration email, there is a link there. When you click on it, you can update your registration information. One of the parts that you can update is the bye weeks that you selected. But again, we do need that information as soon as possible because we're actually scheduling the games tomorrow, including the bye weeks. So please, if you want to update your bye weeks, please do so this evening. All right, with that, that is all the information I had prepared to present to you. For those of you who are going to be dropping off, thank you very much for joining me, and I wish each of you the best of luck during this 2021 season. Great opportunity, once again, for your teams to compete. I know that has been kind of, unfortunately, not a lot of competition opportunities this year, so here's an opportunity now. And this league is a great way to help motivate your team to improve and to work harder and to improve. So again, thank you for each of you for joining me. I will stay on the line for a few minutes in case there are some additional questions. After this call is done, if you do have a question that comes up, please email us or call us at our offices, and we'll be happy to help you out. I did get one note with respect to updates on the banners. They are expected to be in our offices by the early part of February. So actually, in about 3 weeks instead of 4 weeks, what I said earlier. Which means we'll send those to you in about 4 weeks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I don't see any additional questions coming up. Once again, good luck to each of your teams. This league is a lot of fun. We're glad we are able to host it again this year. And like I said, good luck. Let us know if anything comes up during the season. And with that, I will go ahead and close out the stream here. If you have any questions, give us a call. And one last time, good luck to each of you and to your teams.